Welcome into another edition of the Hustle Show podcast for this Hustle Short on Monday, December 14th, as we get set for a double dip of Monday Night Football. I'm Mark Zinno, joined as always by Brian Power. There are not enough superfluous adjectives to describe Brian Power and all of his greatness and his glory and the incredible run that he has been on as of late. I will let him tell you about it himself. BP, great to be with you as always. Happy Monday, and we got a double dip tonight.
Yeah, 2 Monday night games to talk about, Mark. So that means a few extra props, perhaps. But yeah, no adjectives needed, I guess, for yours truly right now. 21-4, all sports run. I'm seeing them pretty well, I suppose. I think that's what that means.
Yes, very hot. Stay away, folks. He's on fire. Like NBA Jam.
Actually, don't stay away. Don't stay away, please. Yes, go to wt.buzz/BP. Yes.
There you go. That's where you want to get all the sweetness and the hotness. It's like a good spicy buffalo wing, but different. All right, Monday Night Football tonight. 2 games coming up. Titans and Dolphins from Miami. Miami laying 13.5 with a total of 46.5. Packers and Giants from MetLife. Packers laying 6 and a total of 37. Our prop streak continues. At least one of us has handed out a winning prop in each of the last, 8 weeks now? So we're going to try to make it 9 as we go forward. And I'm going to look to the Giants-Packers game here for my prop with Jordan Love, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and his rushing yards prop set at a very tiny 9.5. Now, he's not gone over this number in 3 games this year. Chargers game where they won 23-20 back in November. Rams game where they won 20-3. I guess it's the LA teams he doesn't feel like running against. And the Lions at home back in late September where they lost 34-20. Other than that, he's gotten to double digits in rushing yards every single game. Now, Love is not the kind of guy who likes to take off and run a lot. He's never had more. There's only one game where he has had more than 4 attempts rushing, and that was 9 against New Orleans back in September. Other than that, 2, 3, and 4 is his number. So this is going to come basically on one run for Jordan Love. But this is also a Giants team that's the 2nd highest blitz rate in the NFL, and they have the 8th highest hurry rate in the NFL. So despite all the Giants' injuries and everything, they've still been pretty successful. And Wink Martindale, the Giants' defensive coordinator, has been very successful, at least dialing up blitzes to try and make quarterbacks a little bit uncomfortable because, well, the Giants don't do much else well on defense. So at least if they can blitz, they might be able to have something go in their favor. That's enough for me to take Jordan Love here in a game that feels like now with the way the rest of the league is unfolded here in Week 14 in the NFL, Packers get a win. They're going to put themselves in a very good position for the final 4 games to get a playoff spot. So won't call it a must-win for Green Bay, but one of those games that they don't want to lose on the road. And I think that this is a spot here where Jordan Love may just be able to handle things himself. Like I said, all but 3 games he's gone over this number. He's gotten to at least 20 in 8 of his 13 games this year. So I'm pretty comfortable with this number here being as low as it is, even though you're not going to get a lot of attempts. I think Love gets it done on one rush here, gets over 9.5 yards.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned about the Packers needing a win here to, stay viable, really increase their playoff odds. Just full disclosure here, I'll tell the people, I only need the Pack to win tonight to close out a 4-2 week in the NFL, 20-8, last 28 in the NFL. I paired them with Dallas as a money line parlay. That was a client release. The Cowboys, obviously, I did not need to. I could have laid the points, right? Last night they won by a lot. But tonight, it's interesting just looking at the game. I'll get to my prop in a second. I don't know if the Packers can win by margin. I would not trust laying the points with them because they're in that situation where they're going from home dog to road favorite. They were very impressive against the Chiefs last week. Make no mistake about it, Mark. But I don't know if you know me, I'm not in the business really of laying 6 on the road with anybody, even against a team as bad as the Giants. So let's turn to the prop market here. Romeo Doubs over 45.5 receiving yards. This is tied to 2 things. 1, I think Green Bay's winning this game. 2, Christian Watson is out. So someone's going to need to pick up the receiving slack, and I'm looking to Doubs. He's gone over this number 2 of the past 3 games. 3 of the last 4 games, he's had a reception of at least 20 yards. So he's getting big receptions, which would obviously help in a number that is just not very big. He's also number 1 on this Packers team, Mark, with 74 targets. Okay, we know Jordan Love playing much better of late. I trust him to get Doubs the ball here. And lastly, you talked about how the Giants aren't doing much well on defense. Well, they're 22nd against the pass this season. And the last 3 games, they're allowing 279.3 yards per game. That is second most in the league during that time. So my prop for Packers-Giants will be Romeo Doubs over 45.5 yards receiving. And I do expect the Green Bay Packers to win this game Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm with you. I have a play on this game up on my page, sm.buzz/MZ. In fact, I have two plays on the Monday night game. Guys riding a 65% win streak in the NFL since the middle of October. So we've done really, really well here over the last month plus. Again, at 65%. So I have two plays, one in each game, including a 4% play in the Titans and Dolphins game on my page tonight. Again, sm.buzz/MZ. So go check it out there if you'd like to get both of my plays for this evening. But I'm with you, BP. I don't know that I really want to, from a game standpoint, lay points with Jordan Love. Like, if I would have told you a month ago Jordan Love was going to be a touchdown favorite over somebody, you would have been like, is it a college team? Or did they actually play in the NFL? Do they play in the NFL? Because it just didn't look like it. I think it's when you see those dramatic swings in spreads, it's usually a tip that, maybe the public is reacting to something and odds makers are looking at it from a different perspective than we are. I just don't think the Packers and Jordan Love, especially a team that hasn't been great on the road this year. They only have 2 road wins, and they're both against division opponents. It was against the Bears in week 1 and the Lions on Thanksgiving. So something to look out for there as well. In the other game, Titans and Dolphins, this is probably pretty much a mismatch. Titans are winless on the road. They're not very good. I don't think Will Levis is very good yet. I'll add the yet, just maybe he might get better. But the Dolphins, much like the Cowboys, tend to score a ton of points at home. This is the Dolphins' first home game on Monday night since 2017. It's been 6 years since they've had a home Monday night game. And while I know the crowd in South Beach is often laissez-faire about sports in general, kind of got a feeling like they might show up a little bit tonight for this. With the Dolphins now pacing for the 1 seed, you might get a better than average crowd down at South Beach.
Yeah, so I did a game preview of this matchup elsewhere on WagerTalk TV. The too long didn't watch version would be I leaned over. And if you're leery of the Tennessee offense, I said, go ahead and back Miami's team total over because they are second in the league in scoring at home. You talk about maybe the home crowd being fired up, regardless if that's the case or not. We know the Dolphins like to score at home, 38.8 points per game. That's second among all teams in the league at home, trailing only Dallas. Now, I have a prop I want to share on this game as well with you, Mark, and all the fine viewers, and that is Tyreek Hill over 106.5 receiving yards. Is this a high number? Yes, it is. Is Tyreek Hill averaging 123.4 yards per game receiving this season? Again, yes, he is. And he's gone over this number 7 of 12 games this year. And the one thing that stands out to me, if you look at his game-by-game box scores, okay, is he puts up a lot of yards against bad teams with bad defenses. 157 against the Commanders, 146 against the Raiders, 112 against the Patriots, 163 against the Panthers, 181 against the Giants, 157 against the Broncos, 215 against the Chargers all the way back in week 1. And guess what, Mark? The Titans are not a good team, and their defense is dead last in the league in DVOA against number 1 receivers. So this sounds like a very appetizing matchup for Tyreek Hill. Last week against the Colts, who don't exactly have the finest receiving core of this generation, okay, the Titans defense allowed both Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce to have 100-plus yard days. And again, we don't need Hill to even hit his season average here. This number is on the rise. It was juiced minus 130 at 106.5. I think it might keep going up because I've seen a lot of love for it. But Tyreek Hill, man, I think he's going to have a big game. You talk about the national stage, first home game for Miami on Monday Night Football since, 2017, you said. I think he's going to want to shine. One big catch, and we're probably a majority of the way there. So I like Tyreek Hill over his receiving yards prop in Miami, Tennessee.
Yeah, again, I'll just add one more thing about Tyreek Hill. There's a lot of consternation about the MVP and who's going to win it this year. I can say this with unequivocal certainty. Tua Tagovailoa cannot win the MVP. He literally is not the best player in his own team. I don't care what numbers he puts up. He does not have those numbers without Tyreek Hill. If you want to give it to any of the other quarterbacks, I suppose that's fine. No wide receiver has ever won the AP NFL MVP award. This should probably be the time that it happens because, yeah, Tyreek Hill, when you look at his numbers, comparatively speaking, BP, to every other receiver, he is outpacing the second guy by so much, it's utterly ridiculous. He has 900 yards after the catch. The next closest has 600. That's 5 or 6 games worth of yards after the catch that somebody would need to catch him. His 123 yards, The second closest is Justin Jefferson, who only played 2 series yesterday and is out. So the first 5 game sample is all we have. He's at like 115. The next closest active player who's played as many games is at 98. That's 25 at CeeDee Lamb. That's 25 yards less per game that the second closest receiver is to it. Like, he has 12 touchdowns. The next closest guy is Mike Evans with 10. No other receiver has at least double-digit touchdowns. I mean, he is outpacing the rest of the field at the position of wide receiver by such a wide margin that the fact that he is not in the top 3 in the MVP odds is literally laughable, and it's wrong. It's just because the NFL voting is so flawed and it's so dumb, and the people who do it are just complete robots that they'll never be able to think outside the box that somebody other than a quarterback should win this award. Like a couple of years ago when Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards, yeah, he should have been the MVP. Why? Because there's only 7 of those dudes in NFL history. And the last dude to do it before that, he got the MVP because that's what you do to guys who rush for 2,000 yards. So the quarterback play this year across the board has been very average, and I don't see a reason why Tyreek Hill shouldn't be higher in this conversation as far as MVP award, but I can guarantee you, Tua Tagovailoa cannot win the MVP this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you look, the Dolphins were a team that I don't think really anybody thought was going to be in contention for the number 1 seed in the AFC. They weren't even the odds-on favorite to win their division. Buffalo's struggle in close games has obviously helped them out, although, nice win by the Bills yesterday against Kansas City. I understand that you had some strong feelings on Patrick Mahomes' behavior after that game, but we can leave that for a different show, I suppose. But yeah, I would agree. Tyreek Hill is the reason that Miami is a team that is top 4 in point differential and has a chance to have home field advantage throughout the AFC Plus. I believe they play Baltimore late in the season, which will probably determine that spot.
Next week.
Okay, there you go. So, wow, what a big game that is. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's going to be very, very interesting to watch. I'm sorry, 2 weeks down the road. Baltimore and the Jaguars play next week, but 2 weeks down the road, Miami plays Baltimore. And that game is in South Beach. And I believe that is the one that's on Christmas Eve or Christmas night. I think it's a night game it's a big time televised game. But to your point again, and I can tell you, with the mediocre quarterback play, BP, you could take Tyreek Hill right now and put him on half a dozen teams, and you'd be like, yeah, they probably make the playoffs with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
just put him on the Packers right now. What happens to that offense? Everything changes. That's a team that looks like they're going to the playoffs. Heck, put him on the Vikings right now with Josh Dobbs, for crying out loud, and Jordan Addison. All of a sudden, it's like, well, how do you slow that offense down? I mean, it's not hard when you add him into the mix on any given team for him to immediately make them that much better. So that's part of the MVP conversation there. All right. If you want my thoughts on Patrick Mahomes, by the way, do it on Twitter at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Brian Power _wins. I had some what a baby.
Pointed.
What a whiner. Like, it was a bad look overall for a guy. Like, go do another commercial with some nuggies, for crying out loud, if you're really that upset about it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Brady used to whine about calls on the field, and everybody hated it. But you know what? It was on the field. Tom Brady never once whined about a call and threw his helmet and acted like that. And he was the biggest call getter in the history of the NFL. So when he didn't get one, it was a big deal. And we never saw him act like that. And you don't do it to the guy who you broke his heart like on multiple occasions and have 2 Super Bowls and 2 MVPs. Well, he's got neither of any. Like, you don't show him up like that on national. That was
Josh Allen.
Poor. Yeah, he has a very, very poor look. So anyway, all right, final thoughts here, BP, on Monday Night Football. Go ahead.
Just to bring it all back, Tyreek Hill, we talked about how impressive he's been. Again, he's facing a bad team tonight. He should have a big game. Now, one thing that we do need to remind the folks, today is the last day to take advantage of that end-of-year special here at WagerTalk. You talked about how hot you've been over the last month. I talked about how hot I've been over the last month. There you see it right there on the screen, $199. You get every pick for the rest of 2023. You can get Mark, you can get me, you can get both of us. It's not limited to one guy. That's NFL, college football, NBA, college basketball. I'll even give you a little soccer. I know, Mark, that you are always paying attention to what's going on in Europe. We had a nice winner in Germany. Yes. Bundesliga. We had a nice winner over the weekend.
Bunda.
There we go. There we go. So today is the last day to take advantage if you already haven't done so. And that is my final thought here for the Hustle Pod on a Monday. You can catch me, by the way, on WagerTalk today as well, and the College Basketball Show.
WT.buzz/BP. I'm at SM.buzz/MZ, where you get all of our plays. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the double dip of Monday Night Football. For Brian Power, I'm Mark Zinno. Another edition of the Hustle Show podcast in the books. Full edition of the show every Thursday night, 7 p.m. right here on WagerTalk TV. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys follow along. You guys have a great day. Good luck with your bets tonight. Go cash some tickets. We'll talk to you tomorrow.